by the end of this special mini episode of the CRUBCAST, I'm going to make Chris buy Pokopia because it's a really good game and I want to talk about it. And I'm going to make Chris FOMO into buying Pokopia so he can stare at my island and not actually be able to play with me, but kind of play with me. Hi, my name's Kevin on the CRUBCAST. I'm here with Chris, who said, oh.
Is there not multiplayer in Pokemon Pokopia trademark?
It's not good. And I'm here with Brody.
Oh.
How you doing,
Why are you Australian?
You
Whatever.
don't get to appropriate that culture.
To answer...
I'll be honest, I was trying to do a Canadian accent and it didn't come out.
Stop it.
To answer your question, Chris, Pokopia has three different forms of multiplayer, and they kind of lied on one of them, and the other one's not good, and the third one's pretty okay. So there's the Switch 1 and Switch 2 game share multiplayer, where you are just kind of like the DK Bonanza Pauline helper mode.
Okay.
So you can't do anything besides help build blocks. You can't hold items. You can't do anything. You're kind of just there. There's the multiplayer where you invite someone to your world where they kind of also can't do anything. They just kind of look around your world and say, huh. And then there's the shared island that you can do, which you can like team up and work together sort of thing. So that, yeah, multiplayer is not great. It's also something you can't get access to for like several hours unless you know exactly where to go. It's like Dark Souls style. Which is a choice. I found all this out because, yes, Chris.
Can you visit the shared island by yourself, or do you both have to be there to go to it?
There is a server. There's a cloud island feature, which is like a server that you can host that you don't need to be online for.
Okay.
But you can also invite people to your pallet town, which is like your do anything island, and they can't do much there. It's funky and weird, and I don't get it. I only know all this stuff because I wasn't going to buy Pokopia right away, if at all. It seemed neat, but I was going to wait. My girlfriend was like, hey, my friend wants to play this, and she doesn't have a Switch 2, but she has a Switch 1, and I know there's multiplayer from Switch 2 to Switch 1, so I'm going to buy it. So I have Pokopia now. They haven't played it. I beat it.
Just didn't even let them.
No, I let them. They just didn't play. They watched movies instead when they were hanging out. So, I played it a little bit, and then I got more into it than I expected. And, I rolled credits earlier. Very, I don't want to say unique, but very, I don't want to say it's a unique experience. I'm going to say it's a very unique combination of experiences that, with the immediate hindsight of goddamn course this works, it is one of the cooler implementations of the Animal Crossing style that I think is more appealing to some people than Animal Crossing could be.
I think one thing that probably helps it is that there's a lot of people who like Pokemon. Pokemon is, I don't want to say a lifestyle brand because that is crazy, but it is like a always been around brand. And I think there are people who like Pokemon but don't necessarily want to battle. So the idea of a game that's like you can hang out with Pokemon and be a Pokemon is probably a very untapped thing, barring Mystery Dungeon, which was way too video gamey for most people, right?
Yeah, that one's a lot more involved.
I mean, there's like Hey You Pikachu and Pokemon Channel, but that's a very different thing even.
Yeah.
But it is kind of trying to hit that like you
Also
hang out with Pokemon thing,
old.
which I will say is kind of the one thing that's making me a little bit FOMO-y, obviously, with I don't have a Switch 2 and so I don't have Pokopia and everything's expensive and I can't get anything. So it's like, I've always wanted something akin to Pokemon Channel again, where it's you just kind of get to hang out with them. I always thought that was cool in a way that resonated with me a bit more as someone who kind of like watched the anime before school as opposed to like played a lot of the games. Very neat. Kind of neat that they have that as a thing. I think I'm lucky enough that I like Animal Crossing more than Pokemon. So seeing that they Pokemon to my Animal Crossing makes me a little bit like, okay, I'm not feeling too bad about missing out on this one. But there is that level of, hey, this is the closest thing to Pokemon Channel in a while.
The thing about this to me was they immediately solved the problem that I think I had with Animal Crossing. One of the two problems I had with Animal Crossing when I started with New Horizons. One was that I wasn't allowed outside while playing New Horizons. That's solved. And two, I didn't care about a lot of the characters in Animal Crossing because they kind of just say one thing, and they might have a cute little personality where they talk to you with like bits of dialogue, but it's not really involved. In Pokopia, it's still not that involved, but you can carry up to 5 other dudes with you and just say, hey, come hang out with me, come walk. And they will walk with you. They will do stuff with you. They will help you build stuff in the Mystery Dungeon style, actually, where in Mystery Dungeon, you'd like, recruit people to help build your house for you. But here, like if there's a grass type Pokemon and you walk by like your little garden, they'll say, hold on, I got this. And they'll pollinate the garden faster for you. And like that sort of thing is like each of them have their own different thing where it's like, oh, if you walk by a little fireplace and you have a Charmander, he will light the fireplace for you and say, oh, I got this. Things that you can't necessarily do yourself that these characters will just do. You give Scyther a bunch of lumber and or a bunch of logs, they make lumber. And it's all like the usual cozy game time sink sort of stuff where like, oh yeah, come back in 20 minutes. He'll have more lumber for you, whatever. But having the ability to have these characters, like you said, Chris, that we've bonded with over 20 years, have slightly more personality is a no-brainer. That when we were talking in a prior episode about how Nintendo, up until Pokopia, hadn't had a B or better game, a B- or better game in like since Bonanza, so like in over 6 months. If Pokopia hadn't been that game, it would have been a full year, most likely, by the time that we get to summer, that they wouldn't have had a game that was good by the usual critical standards. And we weren't sure what Pokopia was going to be. We knew it was the Dragon Quest Builders team, so we knew it'd be pretty okay at the very least. But there's always that weird Pokemon ratings tax where Pokemon kind of gets good ratings, but not great. So for this to then come out and be the highest rated Pokemon game ever was a surprise.
That is crazy.
Smash success, 2 million in 4 days or whatever.
Yep. It's
already one of the best-selling Pokemon spin-offs immediately.
It makes me scared. It makes me scared for the future of Animal Crossing because
Animal Crossing sold like 60 million copies, so it's going to be fine.
Yeah, it's true, but it's the thing of like it could very easily be like, oh, it's more worth it to make this Pokemon now. They're
outsourcing that anyway, and that's not how Pokemon works.
You'll still get your Animal Crossing. If anything, you just look at and expect the other Nintendo franchises to then. It's like, oh, what about a Zelda version of this? We have to rebuild Hyrule after it got flooded or something, right? Like, I feel like that's probably the next step if they don't.
Splatoon Builders.
Right, Splatoon Builders.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was thinking the opposite of that, Chris, where I'm almost like, oh, God, that play the Zelda game, but you're playing as Charmander or whatever it is, right?
So
like, Pokemon-themed other
that genres. Would also go... I mean, that was that one Insomniac game they didn't make. Monster Night. So to the goal here, that's not really a goal, but a half joking goal of telling Chris that he's going to buy the game by the end of this episode. I was not sold on it from the start. The first area was like, okay, it's kind of cute, but it's kind of just like a generic Minecraft-y area. Like it is a Pokemon town from Kanto, but like, not really. You get bits and pieces of the lore. The second area also didn't do a lot for me because they kind of have a couple like equipment roadblocks that they are there for a reason, but I didn't like the order in which I obtained things. It wasn't until I got to the Vermilion City area where it all clicked. Something about the way Vermilion City is laid out, where it's, this beautiful, you're on the seaside. There's a bunch of roads where you can see like, oh, this is where the bridge used to be, but the bridge isn't there anymore. I just had the innate urge that I've never really had in this kind of game before to rebuild that town. Like to go and say, like, I've never been attached to Vermilion City either. And there was something about it that I was just like, there's like a bunch of houses here that are very pretty and like kind of half destroyed. Like there's just something about the vibe here. And, very, very mild, not really spoiler warning, but something that caught me was I then looked out and saw the SS Anne.
Oh.
And it's there. It's part of that map. And that was also part of the, oh shit, like this is hitting now. I see why they did Kanto. Obviously, they were going to do Kanto because the anniversary game, and Kanto is the one everyone's nostalgic for, even though a lot of Kanto haters don't like it. This would not have worked with any region but Kanto. I think the fact is that it's a universal region for just about every Pokemon player, that even if you think Kanto is boring, this kind of made it interesting. There's a really melancholy, downright depressing story underneath all of it that still has a level of hope to it, that again compelled me to see where it was going to go and to kind of, help, I guess, for lack of a better, more descriptive answer for the time being. And
what's
from
most
that point,
intriguing to me is that aspect. It's a very strange turn for Pokemon. For sure.
Yeah, it's what a lot of Pokemon fans have wanted. If it was going to go darker, there's something that is relatable about a lot of the idea of, where have the humans gone? All these Pokemon are looking for their human. Like it's like the bit of like, oh, imagine if you had to leave your dog behind. And like, what would your dog do besides die? What
build,
would it do?
Apparently.
A build. It would mine and craft.
It would build a Pokemon Center. Yeah.
And there's something about like there's some Pokemon that are like, oh, I want this, and they don't tell you why, but you give them the item as part of their little mini quest, and then it's like, oh yeah, this just, I don't know, it reminds me of home. It reminds me of like my human, and it's like, damn, like that. It's so simple, it's so stupid. But there is a lot of those moments that hit, and I think also it helps that the Pokemon that are in the regions are not just Kanto Pokemon. That was kind of a concern I had based on the bits I had learned. But like, I like Timber now. Timber was like my little dude. Like, he was like, hey, you're going to lead the building. Because like each of them have roles in building things too. So you need like a leader to help like be the construction worker. And Timber was my guy. And so I brought him around, I brought him to the different areas even and would say, hey, you and Onyx, I need a big guy over here. Pants okay.
Yeah, let's go.
And, it was a slow burn of like, this is a mindless thing I'm playing while doing other stuff, while cohabitating with my girlfriend or whatever. And then, like I said, it just something about it hit with Vermilion where this was an achievable thing to rebuild, where the first two are like this ethereal concept of what a town used to be a few hundred years ago. That one was like, this is still a town. You can fix it. And I won't spoil the later areas, but like there's a really cool thing they do in the fourth area that was also like a bunch of disconnected areas where you could tell where the roads were supposed to connect across huge gaps. And I knew that you didn't have to, because I knew what power up you were going to get to like solve that problem, because it's in the first part, like it's a little teleporter thing to like get you go from A to B, that you don't need to build the roads. But I was like, no, I'm going to build these roads. I want to like rebuild this town as much as I can, even though, earthquakes have made it all destructed. And it just, there was something about all the little breadcrumbs they leave that it's just enough that I'm like, man, they did a really cool, good thing here, and I might finally have to play Dragon Quest Builders too.
That's interesting, because I was going to mention that the emotional hook here sounds a lot better. Dragon Quest Builders, it's like if you play Dragon Quest 1 for Builders 1, you kind of clock pretty quickly of like, oh, I'm rebuilding the land of Dragon Quest. But the way it goes about it is like you are the character that knows how to build things, and then all the people are like befuddled and they're like, building? What's building? I think I've heard of building before. You can do that? And like, that's funny, right? But like, if you don't have that Dragon Quest 1 connection, when I've even played it, but I mean, I'm not, it was like a curiosity kind of thing, right? It was just like, okay, this is fun and cute and I like it a lot, and I think there's like a charm to it, but this sounds much more investable. Like it's the thing that would probably most make me want to play it, is probably just experiencing
it's good. The one that is populated by animals is the one where they know how to build.
Well, so they don't know how to build necessarily. Like, you're the one that is like giving them the schematics to put the stuff together, because for whatever reason, because you're a Ditto, because he turns into the shape of his human, or its human, you are then able to access a Pokedex in a way that, like the Professor Tangrowth, the guy you meet at the start, he can't make the Pokedex work, but because you look like a human, the Pokedex says, oh, I can react to you. So
like base IDs.
Wild.
Yeah, like it's straight up, a surveillance state in the Pokemon universe.
Love the idea of having to put that into the Pokedex as if anyone but a human is ever going to interact with that in the first place. Like sure, someone is now, but like the assumption.
Well, and the idea of like, well, a Pokemon can't access the Pokedex, but therefore, because you look like one, you can access the PC at the Pokemon Center ruins.
Actually, you know what? I do actually understand why people in the Pokemon universe would prevent Pokemon from using it, because like, if Mewtwo got his hands on that fucker, like that could be a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. It's. I'll also say other cool things about this game is there's a Pokemon Snap element because your Pokedex has a camera. Oh. So there are a bunch of like little individual, like, hey, it'll like be, here's a photo op, and it'll be like a very specific scene of like, oh, Charmander's sleeping on a log. Take a picture of him because he's sleeping by the fire. That's cute. That sort of thing. Or my favorite one was I was told there's a photo op. I'm in a building that I have just rebuilt with Tinkmaster, my Tinkaton friend, who is named Tinkmaster. That is her name.
I don't like that because of what Borderlands did to that word. I don't like that at all.
So there's Tinkmaster, and so she helps you build. And it told me there's a photo op. I turned around, and she's in a recently finished shower bathroom. And the photo op is like, oh yeah, first suds or something like that. And I'm like, I don't like you making me take a picture through a hazy bathroom door of Tinkaton. I don't like that you made me do that game.
I think you just sold a copy of this to Justin, actually. That sounds up his alley.
Yeah.
That is a great thing to tie into what I was going to say, though, because this is the most like normie brand safe thing on paper you could probably imagine for Pokemon in a way, but I like that they're not afraid to just be weird with it. I don't know if that's the kind of weird flavor I want, but the idea that you're a Ditto emulating a human and then your arms will just contort into like vine whips and scyther cuts. There's like a strangeness that seems inherent in this game that is heartening to see at this point. I like it. Thumbs up to
it's interesting with the brand. Because like the characters also are, it's not just Ditto. It's like other characters will say some weird out of pocket shit that you don't expect from like Pokemon, from this incredibly, and given like modern Pokemon is not that sanitized. Like if you look at the Pokemon games, there's some shit in there that's really screwed up or really funny. Like there are some lines that are out of pocket. Yeah. ZA was probably the funniest Pokemon game, even considering this one. It was still probably the funniest Pokemon game because of the implication of having these wild Pokemon zones and fighting protesters and all those stupid things being put together in the moment that we're in. And then for Pokopia to be a very different take on the moment we're in. Because, like Pokopia is like based on the stuff they just show you in the trailers. You're like, wait, this is like just Horizon, but for Pokemon. That's kind of weird.
I do wonder, like, this is maybe me reading too much into things, but with the whole post-apocalyptic angle and specifically using Kanto, is there some sentiment to the idea of having, again, this maybe me reading way too much into it from a Japanese perspective, like rebuilding after World War II, like rebuilding that space, having to come together as a community.
Wouldn't be surprised if that's an inspiration. I wouldn't be surprised if, not necessarily that directly, but the media based on that would be an inspiration for it. I wouldn't be surprised if it's just lived experience from climate change, from things that aren't related to climate change, like the earthquakes that they've gone through.
Right, even like rebuilding after tsunamis and things like that. Yeah.
You did remind me, another reason that Chris is going to buy this game after this episode is that several Pokemon have a very clear Kansai accent.
Oh, great.
Like the translated, like they make someone from Kansai sound Southern because that's the only way you can describe the accent thing that Yakuza does.
Right.
Kyogre has a Kansai accent.
I'd heard tale of the Southern Kansai Kyogre, but I hadn't looked into it.
There's a Kyogre and a Gyarados who's like, what in tarnation? And I'm like, what are we doing? What are we like? And it just it's like, all right, I never thought about Gyarados as a Southern belle, but I'm fine, cool.
Yeah.
Like if a Pokemon game, one of the cool, someone wrote about this, and I don't want to take credit for, I don't remember who it was, but I don't take credit for what they said. Someone pointed out that every piece of Pokemon media is in service of giving you a new reason to find a new potential favorite. Every Pokemon is someone's favorite. Yes, even that one. And with each new piece of Pokemon media, I have found myself investing more with individual Pokemon that I hadn't given a chance to before. I said Timber is one I like, oh, that's a really cool one that I never thought about like engaging with, because I just thought he was really weird and shitty. I don't like Conkeldurr. He still looks weird, but like he makes me concrete now. So that's pretty cool.
It was always the middle one that bothered me. The weird
head
thing.
Hair.
Yeah.
I don't know what he is.
Yeah.
But like this amount of personality embedded into these characters is like, yeah, this is the kind of stuff that people did love about Mystery Dungeon, especially. And to see that with that undertone of, again, the underlying goal here is, why did our humans leave us? How do we get them back? And it's not like it's a negative of like we were abandoned. It's just like, we know they'll be back. You know, they wouldn't just leave us here, right?
That's the one thing that it's an interesting take for sure, because it's something we haven't seen. With regards to like me kind of wanting something more akin to the Pokemon, because the Pokemon media that's resonated with me the most over the years has been like Pokemon Channel, Mystery Dungeon, and like those old Pichu shorts from like before the movies, when you on like the VHS releases or whatever, which are all very much like Pokemon doing Pokemon things sans humans, almost to the point where humans don't even have to exist within the universe for any of this to like track. And it's just Pokemon interacting with each other, which I think is really cool. Especially with like Mystery Dungeon, the idea of like that is just a Pokemon world. The humans are not there, and the Pokemon just talk to each other and do their own thing. I think that's awesome. This almost sounds like kind of a middle ground between the two. Almost like if you were doing some stupid Zelda timeline theory stuff, it's like it's the missing link between those two styles of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people joke that like Pokopia is the prequel to Mystery Dungeon because like it kind of has the vibe of like, well, you know, in Mystery Dungeon, like even though it's supposed to be a dream alternate universe, like it is like in the storyline, they know that humans existed or exist somehow, but they don't operate in the world that exists with them. It's weird. It's funky.
Yeah. It was a little nebulous in the first one, at least, right? Because they're like Gengars in the town square being like, oh man, that guy was a human. And everyone's like, oh, a human? It's like, would they really even?
And because there's the Ninetales and the Gardevoir that are both like, oh, or Ninetales was abused by its human, and that's why it turned into a Ninetales or whatever. And that's a very simple story. Like even like Pokopia, I would argue is probably more involved as a story than Mystery Dungeon 1.
Interesting.
Because I thought I have fond childhood memories of Mystery Dungeon 1, but having played a good amount of the remake thing a few years back, I did not remember quite how simple it was.
Yeah, same.
You know,
I went through
trying to find Articuno.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, there's just something about like, I don't know what it is. I've never clicked with a Minecraft-y type game. I'm not really huge into like the Animal Crossing version of the cozy genre. Something about this specific combination and how they use the Pokemon brand made me want to build little houses for these dudes. Made me want to go out of my way to rebuild the roads for no reason in Vermilion City. And like I spent like an hour at one point at like just while watching something, going around the SSN and trying to desand it, because it's like covered in sand on the bottom, where I'm like, I want this to be on water again. I want to rebuild the SSN because yes, that is a thing that has been destroyed in the anime. And so it's kind of thing that it's like half destroyed, you know, after however many years here. But there's something about that being damaged that like it did hit like that childhood nostalgia to me of, no, this can't be that way. There's not even a truck there. Like, what are we doing? And so like even before, like, you know, like, because it's across a bunch of water that you shouldn't be able to get to unless you build a strong land bridge. I went through there. I did it before I was supposed to. That's the thing I was going to say. We were recording today. We stream these live on Twitch. If you didn't know, we say it a lot, but maybe you don't know. In the prior episode we were recording, we were talking about Zelda games where, like in Echoes of Wisdom, Brody, you mentioned like doing a thing and then the game making you go and actually start the quest that you just kind of finished. In Pokopia, every single time I've done a thing ahead of time, they will be like, oh, here's the thing we have to, oh, you did it already. Nice. And it just skips it. Like every single time you can jump ahead, you can like do whatever you need to. Like the Vermilion quest is mainly about power generation. Like you need to like power the city to like light it up a little bit because it's all dark and stormy outside. And I had already, the first thing I did when I saw light posts was, how do I activate these? how do I make light happen? How do I generate for the city? Yeah. And I learned how to do it. I had like, there's little spots where like there's very clearly supposed to be like a light post there or a power pole there, because there's like a little divot in the ground where like it's a block with a circle in the middle where like the light post would go. And it's very clear, like, here's the place you should put it. And I was like, how do I do that? How do I do all that? I did all of it. And then that was the end game quest. So like I had finished the entire quest line before I started it. And the game was like, cool. There's other stuff you can do, but like you did the main quest, like we'll let you do that stuff. And it just felt good. It felt good to do it on my own and then have the games respect you for doing it, encourage you for doing it.
Would not have expected that from this game.
Yeah, from Pokemon of all things, I wouldn't expect to be able to truly get lost and then be rewarded for being lost.
Yeah,
or absorbed, I should say, not lost. But like, I did get lost in like the underwater catacombs, where the sewer system of Vermilion was. Like I went in like a cave system. Like there's a bunch of shit there that you can really play around with that has nothing to do with the story.
Oh, I have a question. In Vermilion, is there any allusion to that tower that guy's building and never builds? Is there like a little spot for that?
Yes. Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that. That was the thing I was biting my tongue on a couple days ago when I got there, because I was going to tell you, but I was afraid you'd buy the game. There is a full-on notice about the great-grandchild of that guy with his Machamp from his great-grandfather having built the 15-story tall tower in the space where it would be. In the space where that tower would be.
See, that's the kind of thing that just finally pays off, because ever since I was a kid, and then you go over there in Gold and Silver, and he's still doing it. And you're like, well, what the hell is this about? And you never find out.
Yeah.
And now Pokemon Pokopia has an answer. Yeah.
And the building, I think it is like partially destroyed. Like it's not like a giant high rise. Yeah. But it is like there's a couple pieces of ruin, and there's like a specific note in there about like the Vermilion City newspaper covering this guy teary-eyed. It's been 3 generations of us making this thing, Sandshrew. And I know it's a Machop, but if you don't watch Podcastamon, then you don't know the Sandshrew lore. Podcastamon, Chris, myself, and famous Twitch streamer JTart9 are watching every episode of the Pokemon anime, and there are things that kind of pay off here. Again, the SSN is one of those things that like hit for me, where I was like, this may be destroyed in the anime, but I want it to be right.
Well, heck.
And it just kind of. Like, there's only a couple critiques I have. Like, there's stuff like, oh, sometimes you can't find the Pokemon where you're trying to find them, like someone who you already have in your town. And it turns out that if you go into the Pokedex, there's like a search feature where you would think that means search for through the Pokedex. It is search for the Pokemon you already have. You can try and like ask other Pokemon around town when you have that active of, hey, do you know where Sandshrew is? And they'll be like, oh, he's over there. Or, oh, I haven't seen him. And if you haven't seen him, you go to his habitat. You can rub honey on it, and it might make him spawn.
Okay.
Might, I think, is probably almost always make him spawn. But like I was looking for a specific dude because I needed like one of my builders, because there's only a few builders. Or build leaders, I guess, foremen. And I needed one, and I couldn't find him. So I rubbed honey on his hut. But the amount of times like I found probably, I don't know, half the Pokemon in the game just organically, because you build little habitats, and like that's like the Pokemon will spawn on the tall grass in the habitats or whatever. And there's so many unique ones that are, a lot of them are just spawn grass, but in the different areas, and they're different colored grass based on the area you're in. So some of that's that way, but then like there's so many cool unique ones, like put a bunch of trash cans together and a Voltorb might show up in the trash can, and then they'll be like, oh, you're not a human. Usually people try to grab me out of the trash. Stuff like that. And just the amount of unique habitats, and like how frequently, like it doesn't feel hard to find a Pokemon or get one to show up. And it just feels like a consistent level of good feeling, good brain feeling that they give you throughout that game.
I think final question I would have is, you said about half. Do you know how many Pokemon are in? Like a few hundred?
I looked it up, and I think it was 300-ish.
Okay. It's not bad.
Currently, I think the Hoppip line is like an event thing, because they're doing like event things where if you go, like you grab Drifloon and like have him take you to like the daily respawning islands, like the Animal Crossing, grab rare loot islands. And you go there, get a bunch of loot, and there's like cotton puffs.
Yeah.
And if you grab a bunch of those are like a temporary currency that you can use to buy the stuff from Hoppip that will then let you make the spawns for the other three, for all three.
Okay.
Apparently Jumpluff dies when it runs out of spores, by the way. Like a lot of the Pokedex entries are just the red and blue / the remake entries. Some of them are from other games or like, based on other games. That one might also be, but it was like, oh yeah, it rides the wind as like it's, puff spores, cotton spores, fall off. When it runs out of spores, its journey ends, as does its life. And I was like, what the hell, guys? Like, what is that?
And there's like new Pokemon in it too, right? Like a game original Pokemon.
Not exactly, but yes.
Like regional variants or something.
There's like one per area that is slightly like there's like a new Rotom that's like a CD player.
I saw one. I can't remember what Pokemon it was, but it was like a new version of it, like covered in grass or something.
Mosslax.
Pikachu.
Yeah, Pikachu is a weird one because apparently he's supposed to be prim and proper. I didn't get that. But he's also got a weird, sad backstory they don't touch on. Like, that's like some shit about like, oh yeah, he can't generate electricity anymore. That's why he looks like that. he burned himself out saving his friends.
Yeah. Bobby from Origami King.
God. Hopefully it doesn't end up that way. Hopefully Pikachu doesn't take one for the team. But weird. Yeah, like the fact that it's willing to mess around with like, it's like a weird Mimikyu colored Pikachu and like, it's like a very off model Pikachu. And like, not that Pikachu doesn't have a lot of those, but like, it's interesting to see that,
Yeah.
I do wish, like, the thing is, I would probably be more genuinely aiming to convince you to buy it at your convenience if the multiplayer was not kind of bad. Because it'd be really cool to be like, hey, come over to my world and help me build my little Vermilion underground pathway. Because like I built I did the Minecraft shit with this game at one point. I was like, oh, I'm going to build a little trap door to go under the water to go make a cave system to this little island where I'm going to have Lapras live. Like I was doing shit. But like you just be able to walk around and watch. Or I'd be able to walk around your world and watch.
You get to sit in the chair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised multiplayer isn't more gooder, so to speak, because I remember in the very illegal hack that went around, some early 2023 documents went out for this. And like multiplayer seemed to be kind of a outlined objective. And I think I just inferred from there, like, oh, of course, they know the modern day streaming audience and everything would be like perfect for this, right? So I know there's like the Cloud Island, I think is like the Minecraft build mode where like you can just, creative mode where you can just do whatever. I think you bring back anything like as far as recipes you find. Pokemon won't be in your decks, but you can get Pokemon there and you can recruit them and do that sort of stuff and they'll help you and all that sort of stuff. So it is still like the base game of Pokopia, but it's not like it doesn't really like integrate into the rest of the game in a way I'd like. I see.
I think. But I don't know for sure. Like it might be better than I'm thinking, and it might be more like a Minecraft survival type mode where it still is like you still have to go out of your way to like get the materials. It's not just you have infinite stuff. I would rather it be that way than just build. I don't need another Minecrafty type game to, have infinite resources and build a really cool thing. Like I'd rather you have to like kind of go through the grind of it if it's with the way that this game is set up.
Yeah. Well, maybe it'll be like Animal Crossing in 6 years from now. They'll update the multiplayer.
You can play 12 people at once now.
Shaking my head audibly for the audio listeners. 12 loading screens.